Okay, now that Tisha B'Av is over, we're going to go back to the laws of Shabbos, but a very fundamental aspect of Shabbos, and that is what's called, it's known as Muktza. Now Muktza, people make a mistake when they say Muktza. They say, oh, you can't turn on a light on Shabbos because it's Muktza. They think something forbidden on Shabbos is called Muktza. It's not true. Muktza is rabbinic, it's a big argument in the Rishonim, but the halacha, practical halacha is, Muktza is rabbinic, which means it's foul. Let me give you the history of where Muktza came from. When the Yidden went up to build the second Bais Hamikdash, it was Ezra and Nehemiah. So Nehemiah saw that the Jewish people were extremely lax in the laws of Shabbos. Very, very lax. So he wanted to rein them in a little bit. So he made a takana that's called Muktza. Muktza means it's separated, set apart. That's what Muktza means. It's removed from a person's mind. He was extremely stringent, and he said the only things you're allowed to move on Shabbos is things that are clothing and food. You can move cutlery, you can move plates, but you cannot move anything else on Shabbos. Nothing. Then when people started getting back into it, they started relaxing more and more the prohibitions until we come to, so to speak, the final version of what Muktza is. Now, the reason for Muktza, it's a rabbinic decree, that one of the many rabbinic decrees they made. The Rambam brings down 3 reasons why the Chacham instituted Muktza. Number one, and again, Muktza, as we will learn, does not mean touching something forbidden. It means moving something forbidden. If this is Muktza, it's not. But let's say this would be Muktza, I couldn't move it, but I could touch it. Muktza is only forbidden to move, not to touch. The only thing halacha says basically that is Muktza and you're not allowed to touch it, because by touching it, you're moving it, is an egg that was laid on Shabbos. So it became Muktza, and it's not for now. We'll learn that was some other time. So then, because an egg is round, and if you touch an egg, it's going to move. But again, the concept of Muktza is that you're not allowed to move certain objects. Certain objects of Muktza you are never allowed to move. I mean, generally speaking, never could be moved. And certain levels of Muktza could be moved under certain conditions. But let's first discuss the reasons why the Chacham instituted Muktza. So the Rambam brings down 3 reasons. And he says, number 1, we find the pasuk that says, the Navi says that, Shabbos, you have to be different. The Gemara learns out, you're not allowed to walk on Shabbos like you walk during the week. You shouldn't talk on Shabbos like you talk during the week. You shouldn't do a lot of things on Shabbos because Shabbos is a holy day. So therefore, the Rambam says, the Chachamim also instituted, you shouldn't just be moving things around. Because if somebody can just move anything around, so technically they could be schlepping rocks back and forth a whole day, and they won't be celebrating Shabbos. So because if Chachamim said you can't do a lot of things, because Shabbos is a different day, so Chachamim said moving things is also. That's one reason. Another reason is, because if you're going to be allowed to move certain utensils and certain things, you might come to do something forbidden with it. If you'd be allowed to move a hammer, you might knock in a nail, which is biblically forbidden on Shabbos because of construction. So the second reason is, the Chacham said that because you might come to do a malacha if you just move whatever you want, whenever you want. So by the Chacham restricting what you can move, what you can't move, so therefore people remember that Shabbos is a different day. The third reason the Rambam says why the Chacham instituted Muktza, because there are people that don't work a whole week. Right? If they don't work a whole week, how for them is Shabbos different? I mean, there's nothing different between them and the whole week. They work on Shabbos, but if you don't work a whole week. So the third reason the Rambam says is because that people that don't work a whole week should have something to appreciate Shabbos with. The Ravid adds 4 reasons. He thinks out the Rebbe brings down these reasons. The fourth reason that I've said, because if you could just pick up and touch and move whatever you want, you might come to carry it out on Shabbos. So these are the three reasons basically that the Rambam says three, the Ravid says the fourth of the reason, either because Shabbos is a different day anyway, so we don't want people moving things like they do during the week. They might come to do a malacha. For people that don't work a whole week, it should be recognizable that it's Shabbos. And the fourth reason is you might come to carry. So these are the reasons why the Chachamim instituted the whole concept of Muktza. Okay, so we said, now, again, Muktza means, by definition, something which is removed from a person's mind. Things that are not utensils, generally speaking, are Muktza. And I'm not talking about food items. Food, no. There are certain foods that are Muktza on Shabbos. A food that you would not be allowed to eat or benefit from is Muktza on Shabbos. You can't move it on Shabbos because you're not allowed to eat it. So you can't move it. It's Muktza. Forbidden food that you're not allowed to eat or benefit from. Like Orla. If you have a tree, the first 3 years that the fruit grows, those fruits are forbidden to benefit from. So those trees would be completely Muktza on Shabbos. The fruit, would be Muktza on Shabbos because it's not a food. You can't eat it. It's not a food. Chametz on Pesach, on Shabbos, would be Muktza. Because you're not allowed to eat it. You can't benefit from it, so it would be Muktza. So you have a lot of dinim like that. But generally speaking, though, something which is classified as a utensil, most of the time, many times it's not Muktza. Okay, so let's discuss various different categories of Muktza, and we'll discuss then in depth each one, when you're allowed to move it, what you're not allowed to move, and so on. So there's something that's called, which is one of the most practical aspects of Muktza, is Keli Shemalachto Le'isr. There's a concept called Keli Shemalachto Leheter. Any utensil that has a permissible use, like spoons, forks, tables, chair. Anything which is not, its main function is not for forbidden things on Shabbos. It's not Muktza. But what happened? And we'll learn a lot of categories in those things. What is, what isn't. But the more common one is what's called Keli Shemalachto Le'isr. A vessel whose primary use is for something forbidden on Shabbos. Okay, that's the very practical, relevant Muktza on Shabbos. For instance, a pen, the primary purpose of a pen is to write. Writing is forbidden on Shabbos. So therefore, a pen is Keli Shemalachto Le'isr. Its primary use is for something forbidden. This recorder, its primary use is to record, which is forbidden on Shabbos. So this would be a Keli Shemalachto Le'isr, a vessel whose primary use is for something forbidden. And we'll learn a lot of different things. What?
Is the Isur on the primary use of the Keli? Like, can you use it in other ways?
1 second, we're coming to that. 1 second. I'm just saying the definition of Keli Shemalachto Le'isr means a vessel whose primary use is for something forbidden on Shabbos. That Muktza is not 100% Muktza. You're allowed to move it for two purposes. Number one, it's called Tzorech Gufay or Tzorech Makaymei. Okay? So let's say this pen, I just wanted, just for the record, money is completely Muktza on Shabbos. Completely. This bowl, which is a base of the Muktza, is also 100% Muktza. I can't move it. If somebody left this on my dining room table, okay, there might be variation, but that's general rule. Somebody left this this bowl of money on the dining room table, and I need to set the table for Shabbos, I wouldn't be allowed to move it in a normal way. This is completely Muktza. But something which its primary use is forbidden, but it's still a vessel, it's still usable, So I'm allowed to use it for a permissible usage, or if somebody left a pen on the table, and I need the place on the table to set the table, so halacha I can pick up the pen on Shabbos and put it away. Or if I want to use the pen for something permissible. Now many poskim hold that you're only allowed to use it for something permissible if there's no other thing available that's not Muktza. Okay? So let's say for argument's sake, I'm learning a sefer, I want to close the sefer, I don't want to lose my place. So right in front of me, I have a pen, I go like this. Okay? So technically, that would be allowed. Because I'm using the pen now for something which is permissible. A bookmark is permissible on Shabbos. Or if the pen would be on the table, and I need the place where the table is, where the place is, I will be allowed to move. What happens if I don't need that place? If I don't need that place, then it would be muktza. I wouldn't be allowed to move it. If I don't want to use the thing for something permissible. I'll give you another very practical example. People are shocked when they hear this din. Scissors, we're going to learn all the details, but this book is great. The Muktza goes through a million examples of cases, just realistic cases. A scissors is made to cut and made to cut. Okay? Shabbos, you just can't go cutting. It's koreya. You just can't go cut things. But therefore, scissors has a din of keli shemalachti le'isr. Its primary use is something forbidden. Okay? But what happens if I want to use the scissors? When you tell this to people, they go, what? What happens if I have a bag of potato chips? Okay? Or popcorn, whatever. A container, right? And we learned for food, you could rip it for food as long as you don't rip letters. Okay? But and also we learned that if a potato chip bag is sealed on top with glue, you're opening it, pulling it open, you're not allowed to, we learned that already, because it's tearing and you're not destroying. The bag is not getting destroyed when you pull it open. The only thing you're doing is tearing it. So that wouldn't be allowed to do. But what happens, I know if I rip it with my hands, inevitably I might cut some letters. So I want to take the scissors to be able to open the bag of potato chips, because the scissors is a clean cut, halachically I would be allowed to take the scissors out of the drawer and cut the bag open. Why? Because I'm doing it tzedach gufay. I'm using the scissors to do something, even though scissors primarily is a keli shemalachta le'isr, is primarily used for something forbidden, just cutting is forbidden on Shabbos, but the fact that I'm using it now for something permissible, it would be allowed. Or another example of that would be, I have a hammer, okay? A hammer is made, primary use of a hammer is for construction. Construction is not allowed on Shabbos. Therefore, a hammer is what's called keli shemalachta le'isr. Its primary use is for something forbidden. But now I got a coconut, and when I crack open the coconut, and you're not going to do it with a knife, okay? So I want to take a hammer with a screwdriver, which a screwdriver is also a vessel which is primarily for construction, that you can't screw with screws on Shabbos, because you're building. But now I want to take the hammer and the screwdriver to crack open the coconut. I would be allowed to do it. Opening a coconut is allowed on Shabbos. Okay, so now I'm using that keli shemalachta le'isr for something allowed. I can't bang in a nail. I can't just move it for no reason at all. I'll give you an example. If the hammer is out in my backyard or my front porch, okay, and I realize on Shabbos I don't want it to get stolen. I can't pick it up and bring it into the house. It's muktza. But if I want to crack open a coconut with it, then I would be allowed to bring it in. But just for the thing itself, not to do something permissible with it, just for the safeguard the thing itself, keli shemalachta le'isr is not allowed to be moved. You can only move it if you need the place that it's on. That means if let's say you left something on the kitchen counter, and I don't need the counter space. A hammer you left on the kitchen counter, right? I'm not allowed to just take it off. If I don't need the space, I'm not allowed to just go take it off. What?
When you finish your work with the hammer, can you take it back to the bag?
Yeah, once, you will learn that also. Once you have it in your hand, you could put it back where, or you need the place. Let's say you need the table, yeah? So I'm going to pick up, yeah. This is Keli Shemalachtai Leheter. Because it's a lock, right? That's not a problem. But what happens if this be a hammer, and I need the place here, and I pick it up? Do I have to drop it?
No.
Good. The din is I can carry it wherever it belongs. Once I have it in my hand, I can keep going. To be continued.